Okay, let's shift back to some trading ideas, and Hemant Takral of Aditya Birla Money is with us in a bit. Ambareesh will also be with us. Hemant, well, how do you tackle the Nifty first? Expiry day?
Yeah, morning Lata. Lata, I don't see major fireworks happening today on expiry day.
Oh.
The reason is two. One, we are very low on the rollover front, so I'm expecting more rolls to happen, and it may remain flattish in between the range of say 40 to 45 points either side. So very difficult to break below 6550. On the upside, I think it will more of a consolidation because as I said, the rollovers are below average. So I do see some stocks showing short covering, some stocks showing some profit taking. So maybe a mixed day. But going forward, I think in April series, that is crucial the way the data is planning up. 65 put and 67 call have the highest open interest. That is signaling that moment if we enter April series, maybe we will see some more consolidation happening. And 65 is the base. So I expect some resistance coming around 67.50 now. So actually I would recommend people to do a short triangle in April series now. 65 put and 67 call, because the calls are offering a very high premium due to a very high premium in Nifty future itself. So the premium accrued would be anywhere between 185 to 200 rupees, and one can keep a stop loss of 6750 on the upside and 6430, 6440 on the downside.
Okay, Ambareesh Baliga of Edelweiss is also with us to talk about the markets and individual stocks. Ambareesh, hi, good morning. You must have heard, I don't know if you heard FIMI just a while back, but mining may be permitted in Goa with a 20 million ton per annum capacity. This is much lower than the 50 million ton run rate that was done before the ban. So while it could be a positive that something will start, the curtailment of capacity is what some analysts are worried about. How would you approach CESA Goa now? CESA Sterlite now?
From a short-term angle, clearly it is positive, because from nothing at least you are moving up to 20 million. But then over a longer term, clearly, there would be capacity utilization issues because the capacity built up is much higher. So from a longer term angle, may not really work out. But short term, yes, I think it will move up.
Okay, Ambareesh, basically how are you approaching the markets itself now? We have seen the last 100 points come on somewhat easily for the markets, 6,600 and counting. So at this juncture, does the market catch its breath, or do you think there is more speed in the follow through?
Consolidation will keep happening. You will keep happening those small corrections, but clearly the trajectory is upwards, and I've been maintaining this for a while, that we have been bullish on the markets for the past couple of months, although we had the rally starting a bit late. But still, I suppose we should see levels of about 6,800 plus, even 7,000 may be possible. As of now, we have not seen euphoria, but I suppose we should be able to see that euphoria sometime around second, third week of April onwards. Okay. And that is the time you'll actually see all these mid caps and the small caps moving. And you could also even have the cats and dogs which have not moved in the past couple of years. Even those should start moving. So that is the time I suppose you should be a bit careful, and that's a time to actually take some profits off the table, because I wouldn't like to take a call on elections. Whatever the opinion polls say, I think we should go back to 2004 and remember that whatever the expectations were, it was completely different. So I would suggest that one should not really take a complete call on the polls, and book out to a certain extent, not book out completely, but book out to a certain extent, take some profits home.
All right. Ambareesh, in this series gone by, the biggest moves have come in the capital goods space. I know you've been recommending Voltas and Crompton for a while. Those have risen too, but look at the moves on BHEL up 20%, L&T up about close to more than 15%. In the April series, do you see some more upside to these two names?
L&T anyway was my favorite for quite a while, and still we see levels of about 1450 for that stock. BHEL anyway was a dark horse, did not really expect that to really move back to these levels, but yes, because it is in capital goods and the whole space is in flavor now, we are seeing that momentum. Yes, I suppose the BHEL will also move up some more from here, but still I would prefer to place my bets on L&T, Crompton and Voltas.
Okay, I was going to ask you mid-cap stocks, but I'll come to you in just a second. Hemant, any strategy on Bank Nifty separately, or on any of the big banks?
See, Bank Nifty has shown more rollovers even than Nifty. I have not seen this type of data from last 8-10 months. That is clearly suggesting that Bank Nifty has more strength. Rollover cost is higher in Bank Nifty. So clearly I think Bank Nifty will touch the all-time highs. That is very clear. You can keep a stop loss of 12,150, 12,200. I think 13,100 will be next target. But I would be watching SBI very carefully, Lata. The reason is, first, the rollovers are very encouraging, and already the rollover cost is very high if you compare from last 6 months. So I think the next target is 1840, 1850 on it. One can keep a stop loss of 1650 on SBI. I think SBI should be the stock one should watch for in the large cap banking stocks.
And from the broader markets, you've picked up Arvind for today, Hemant. That one's had a great run as well.
Yes, clearly I think it will be another mid-cap star. I think it will continue that run up. See the rollovers already, they are approaching 60%. I am expecting it to go up to 80-85% today. Stock has already broken above 155, 158 channel, which was acting as a resistance. Their next target I feel is around 180, 185. One can keep a stop loss on 158. So I think this rally will continue in Arvind, and it will be an outperformer in the mid-cap pack.
Fair enough. Gentlemen, stay on. Let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll be closer to getting the pre-opening rates as well. We'll have, of course, more trading strategies from our experts.
MCX Stock Exchange, India's new stock exchange, presents Bazaar Morning Call.
Hi, welcome back. That's some news coming in. Morgan Stanley has gone ahead and added Axis Bank to their Asia ex-Japan model portfolio. They're positive on Axis Bank given the reducing risk that they've seen in their asset book. And they say Indian banks are the only space in Asia that is close to exiting the NPA cycle. So that's an important... Everyone's saying we're close to the recovery, we're close to the bottom, but there's no real bottom in sight.
Bankers didn't tell me that until very recently. I mean, they always see 1 or 2 more quarters of pain. Chandra Kochar, I think she was very candid when she said.
Yes, she said that.
All of last quarter she has been saying that we see more pain.
Yes.
And I think hers is a much better balance sheet. If she's saying that, you have to take that very seriously. As you say, it's close to. It's not as if recovery has happened. Well, I think we have, 40 seconds. Ambareesh, can you squeeze one mid-cap stock in the next 30 seconds?
Cummins is one stock which we are recommending now. In fact, they're the leaders in the medium and large DG sets, and the performance has been consistent over the past couple of quarters. So we feel that this stock can go to levels of about 660. Currently, I think it's around 560, 62. It can move to about 660, 665.
All right, we'll come back to you for more mid-cap stocks since you say that tactically there will be a sharper rally in that space. But for the moment, we're just 2 seconds from the start of the pre-opening trades. We conquered 6,600 on a closing basis yesterday. Today it's starting with, there was 1 green tick and 1 red tick on the Nifty, but at the moment in the red, about 0.8 lower. That's of course a bizarre rate, but the overall start could be a little bit of a gap down given that the dollar index is above 80, indicating a bit of a flight to safe haven. The rupee as well opening as we had seen between 60.20 and 60.25 was what we heard, 60.24. So the dollar is more expensive by about 12 pies, 11 pies compared to yesterday. This is just the early morning start because dollar is strong globally against most currencies except the yen, which is also strong in a safe haven rush. That might affect the stock markets also, this tendency to be a little risk off today globally, and we have of course our own cues, triple witching day, quadruple witching day cues. Let's see what we have in terms of stock performance before we come back to the index yet again. What's up? Bharti 3.5%, Lupin up 1.4%. Of course, 3.5 looks pretty bizarre at this juncture. Dr. Reddy's is up 1.2, NTPC 0.7 up, Bank of Baroda 0.8 up, Reliance 0.8 up. NTPC again 0.8, HDFC Bank 0.5%, Cipla 0.7, Tata Steel up 0.5%, SBI 0.4, 0.5% now. That's the lot of stocks that are in the green. There's one big red tick in ONGC, 5.2%. We can ignore that for now. Jaiprakash Associates starting with 4% down tick, ignore that as well. Ultratech Cement minus 1.8. Cement stocks saw a lot of buying in the last 10 days or so. So I don't know if there'll be profit taking, but this again looks a little exaggerated. Asian Paints minus 1.2. HCL Tech minus 1.2. So basically some of the defensives are still getting sold as far as the pre-opening rates are concerned, and the cyclicals like banks are still getting bought. Beyond that, there is no trend here.
Well, no, we wait by, but the trend that we're noticing for the past many days is that mid-caps are doing much better than the frontliners. So perhaps there could be that traction in the mid-cap space today. A couple of stocks, Ashok Leyland has a big rate pre-opening, so it's up almost about 7.5%. Remember, it saw a big move yesterday, huge delivery-based buying, so perhaps there's more to go. Arvind as well, the last time I checked, it was up about 1 or 2%, but Arvind has had a phenomenal run, so that one too might continue on the upside. By the way, on the rupee itself, now it is at about 60.19, so it's flat compared to what we saw yesterday. There was some talk that there was RBI intervention yesterday where RBI started buying dollars, bought about $1 billion.
We've been intervening for some time now. Yesterday it perhaps was a little more exaggerated with people guessing 1 billion. But it has been an interventionist RBI. They don't want an appreciating rupee, I would think.
Okay, so that might continue today as well. So just keep your eye out on the currency. But apart from that, it's a flat opening for the market. 6,600 perhaps might be the pivot point for the day. But getting back to individual stocks, Ambareesh, what have you made of the run on Ashok Leyland? I mean, it's quite bewildering, the moves there. Is it anything to do with the fundamentals, or do you think it's purely just a rebound from low levels?
No, fundamentals clearly are improving for Ashok Leyland. At the same time, I think it is also doing that catch-up, because that's one of the very few auto stocks which had not performed. So we are clearly seeing that catch-up both in TVS as well as Ashok Leyland.
Okay, you just said before we went to the break that you expect the tactical rally in mid-caps to be a little sharper. Is there anything that you can get in? I mean, obviously towards the end of the rally where you will see enthusiasm, perhaps there'll be I will ask you your avoid list, but for the moment, what is your buy list?
Among the other stocks which we are looking at are the ones which were beaten down because of those high forex borrowings, and because of which the balance sheet had got stretched. And with the rupee now appreciating, I think all these stocks will start bouncing back. We have seen some action in a couple of them, and Syntex is clearly one of those stocks which had seen a low of about 2022 a couple of months back, and now it has bounced back to 42. But then we should remember that this is a stock which had come down from those 3 digits. So something like a Syntex can move to levels of about 60, 65.
Okay. So,
well, Hemant, anything important in the mid-cap space that you will watch out for on F&O contract winding day?
See, I would be watching out for something like a Dish TV, which is another one which I think again the media stocks which has started showing very good rollovers, and basically the way the mid caps are surging up, I think this can be another counter which one can watch very closely. You can have a target of 55 to 56. So media side of the business, I do not recommend Sun TV because it is actually shows some movements, erratic movements due to news. So it's much better to go ahead with Dish TV. So I feel that media stocks on the mid cap front are also showing some good rollovers already, so they can see a good rally today also and going forward in April series also.
okay. Ambareesh, didn't get a chance to ask you your view on the markets itself. I mean, almost 6% higher for the March series, so it's been an exceptional series for us. But what about April? What kind of moves are you expecting? Will it continue to be a relentless run, or are you also getting into the cautious camp now?
No, I'm not really getting into the cautious camp, but I would say that it is prudent to book out to a certain extent once you see some amount of euphoria on the street. And like I said, we should see that happening possibly post second, third week of April. And as far as the market is concerned, overall I see at least another 5 to 7% sort of a move from here. because of which I said we should see levels of beyond 6,800, even possibly 7,000. But once you start seeing that euphoria, that is the time to book out to a certain extent.
Okay, Hemant, I wanted to ask you, is there anything in the markets that because of the contract winding pressure or euphoria, this Nifty will even make a dash closer to 6,700? Not really conquering it, but getting very close there.
See, I think it will be slightly tough. There are two reasons why I'm saying, because unless until you see a very big short covering coming in IT and pharma, because these are the two places where there's a lot of shorts open still. So if people are not convinced that IT and pharma short should be continued in the next, that can help the rally surge, because banking, and I have a feeling they will remain more on a flattish note, because people will look out to book profits or go long rollovers. So only short covering areas which is possible is IT and pharma. So I would be watching stock like Infosys very closely, which has a 36% open interest on the short side. So today you may see some short covering happening. So that is a stock which one should watch for.
For the April series, Hemant, any of these F&O losers that you would trade? Hexaware, which has lost about 14% this series, JP Power, which has lost close to about 11 to 12%. Anything there?
See, they are very clearly all the sectors that we have mentioned, IT, pharma and power, they are the ones which are seeing the rollover cost slightly negative. So very tough call to take which to trade, and as I said that if I have to trade in, I would prefer still IT, because they have been really come down. So TCS and Infosys, I think they are at the very important support levels, and both of them have results in as we approach the April series in the second week. So some short covering is possible. So I would bet on those two rather than buying any mid caps in this sector at all.
Okay, tried and tested and much badgered question to you, Ambareesh. PSU Bank especially have run a goodish bit in the past 4, even 8 weeks, and yet today we have a bunch of upgrades coming in. Goldman has upgraded them. I think even Deutsche has upgraded. Morgan Stanley has added Axis Bank in its portfolio. There are fresh positive cues. Is there more to run in the public sector bank space, and which ones?
Public sector banks possibly can move for the next 1 week, 10 days, but once you have the results starting to pour in, I suppose the NPA issues will again come to fore, and again possibly you should have some correction in the PSU space. But we continue to be quite positive on the private sector banks, and again our buy list also includes Axis, ICICI Bank, and like I've been saying, among the smaller ones it's IndusInd and DCB.
And what about anything from the real estate space? I mean, that has been the biggest mover in this series, and we did see some good deals take place in the likes of Oberoi Realty, Godrej Properties, etc.
Overall, we are not too positive on the real estate space. Oberoi, anyway, is among the better of the stocks in the reality space, but others have their balance sheets quite stretched. And we again don't expect the property prices to continue moving up. In fact, we should see, I think, a decent correction over the next couple of months as far as the property prices are concerned. So, at these levels, I'll not really recommend.
Okay, finally, Hemant, anything in the pharma space? I mean, since you said there could be short covering in IT and pharma, any specific stock plays, not necessarily short covering, but any strategy?
See, pharma, as I said, again, a big amount of shorts. Yesterday, if you see what happened with Dr. Reddy, Lupin, huge shorts are being rolled. That means people are not preferring pharma going forward in April series. But if you want to trade for today itself, then I would be definitely looking for both Sun Pharma and Lupin, because I do expect some short covering coming in both of them around 230 to 330 time. So I would prefer both of them, and look out for only 1 to 2% gains in last 1 hour of the short covering purpose. But I would not take forward these contracts to the April series at all.
All right, Hemant, Ambareesh, thank you very much for joining us with your thoughts today. And it's time that we refresh you with what our research team is looking out very closely. That's the CNBC TV 18's top 10 list of stock.